It's almost the weekend, and I'm here with serial pontificator Joe Toole.
Hello. Thank you for introducing me. Welcome to It's Almost the Weekend. I almost said welcome to the weekend. Keep doing this every time. Maybe we change it to welcome to the weekend.
Oh my god.
How
How
you
are
doing,
ya?
man? Oh, fine.
Embrace the chaos.
Embrace.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm real good. I
Good.
just having a pretty chill week. I've put down that Elden Ring. Uh,
Oh,
it's been real good, but like I just feel like it doesn't have the staying power that their other titles have for me. Um, there's a couple of design decisions that I would love to talk about once you've finished.
yeah.
Because it mainly concerns what they did with some of the end game bosses,
Right.
and like for the most part, it's really good.
Mm.
But yeah, I just think there needs to be a few changes for me to want to go back and do it all again, honestly.
Yeah, right.
Which is like weird for me because usually when a FromSoft game comes out, I beat it like 4 or 5 times,
Yeah,
just
mad
just
lad.
yeah, just so I can like get it out of my system. But
Yeah.
I just like it's such a big game. I feel like um, I just got got my money's worth, or however you want to say it. I got it. I,
Yeah.
I got my experience, and it was good from one playthrough.
Yeah.
Um, but I've picked up this game called The Messenger. Have you heard of this?
Oh, no, I have not. Tell me more.
Um, there was an indie sale on the Switch store last week, and I'd never heard of it. I looked at some screenshots and I thought that looks like it's for me, and bought it, and it's just been an absolute ball. It's like
Wow.
a Ninja Gaiden spiritual successor, I guess.
Oh, I think I've seen this. The Messenger, right? Let me just
Yeah,
do a quick Google.
yeah. Although don't read anything because I went
Okay.
in, if you're interested, I went in totally blind, and there's this twist in the middle of the game that is just awesome.
Oh,
And
sick.
yeah, the music is great. There's like this mechanic that is introduced, and it has you switching between 8-bit and 16-bit music,
Oh,
and it's really cool.
wow.
And yeah,
Sick,
there's some
dude.
yeah, and there's some timey wimey wibbly wobbly stuff,
Yeah.
and the dialogue is really funny. But yeah, just a cute little pick out of nowhere.
Mm.
I'm really liking it.
I love to hear it. A game that I didn't introduce you to that you went out and got.
It's a rarity these days.
It makes me want to get it. That's the thing. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I feel you on Elden Ring. I played a little bit the other night, but I haven't been able to have like a proper sit down and play sesh with that game. And I feel like
Mhm.
that's the game really demands that of you. You know, you really need to be there for a few hours straight to play it properly.
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
agree.
and so yeah, I'm in the what's it called? The snowy area with the I think it's called like Hills of the Giants or something like that. Ten Mountains of
Oh,
the Giant.
yep,
I don't know.
yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
and
I know the
it's quite a
place.
bit. Yeah, it's quite a bit harder than other areas, and I don't know. I'm just kind of struggling along, getting the feeling that I should just be pushing onwards and not trying to like kill enemies, which is a weird vibe. Um,
Yeah, well, that kind of goes hand in hand with what I talked about last week, where
yeah,
you find a mini boss and decimate them, but just the enemies walking
the
around can
enemies.
like kill
Yeah,
you in a couple of hits or even one hit. So
yeah.
you're just like, well, I'll run and grab the loot and be on my way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's real weird. And then I was doing an Everjail around that area, and I was finding that a little bit challenging too, so I left that and then I turned it off. So yeah, I don't know. I think I need to actually just blast through it because it's going to become a game that I never finish if I don't. Like,
Yeah, well, if it helps um, provoke you to continue, the
mm,
second last boss, the second last story boss is absolutely worth your time.
Okay.
They do an amazing job, and it kind of like was at a point in the game where I wasn't that impressed with many of the bosses, but
Mm.
but
Hmm.
this boss just really embraces what Elden Ring introduced as far as new mechanics go, like jumping and that kind of thing. And it's a boss where there's a move as part of the move set that impacts all of the players if you're helping someone beat the boss or someone's helping you,
Oh,
and
right.
it's something that I just haven't seen that much in the bosses they design, and
Yeah.
it felt really cool because you can beat him by yourself, and then when you beat the boss when you try to help others, it's a different experience, and
Right.
I really liked that because I've been beating the boss and then jumping into other people's worlds, but this was like whoa, I the timing is different now because it's not only me that the boss is focusing on.
Right. Interesting. That's cool. Yeah, I wish I could experience that, but I can't. I had a dream last night that that my internet changed. This is one thing that yeah, you know about me is my dreams are always so banal.
Yeah,
Um
I love it. I love it.
yeah.
Honestly, like I'm here for your dreams where you
Mm,
visit the milk store and you don't have enough change, but they let you off, and then
yeah.
that's the dream.
That's a good dream right there. That's a
Yeah.
good one. Yeah. So I do want to go play some more of that today. I don't think I have much on today apart from like freelance stuff, so I might just jump in after the call and try and blast through some more.
Hell yeah.
Um, but what else have I been doing? At work, before we get into the topic, at work I've been like going through a bunch of old video games, not old video games that have good animation.
Mm.
So I like have been putting together this like compendium of gifs from various video games of like how how they do like run cycles in Ghost of Tsushima, like how they run start
Yeah.
and run stop and how all the systems interlink and everything like that. And
Cool.
it's being really surprised by some of the games that I thought had really fantastic animation, but actually some systems are broken.
Right.
Like one of the things that you do in animation is like an aim, so you like do an aim down the bow, for example, and then
Hmm.
while you're aiming down the bow, the animation system needs to know what the rest of the character's body is doing while you're looking up and down and left and right and stuff.
Right. Okay.
And so if you're looking down in Ghost of Tsushima at the character's feet while you're aiming the bow, and then you start rotating around, like aiming left and right, the
Hmm.
feet do this really wacky slippy slidey fun time.
Like they're on an ice
Roller
skating rink
skates.
or something.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I was like, I didn't even notice this. And I guess that's one of those things, like I didn't notice it playing it the first time. It's not like you ever aim down and rotate. Like it's not a very common thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the animations don't look great. So fair enough. But I was like, oh, that's so crazy. And then I was looking at like the jump animation in Death Stranding, and that animation is so weird, man. Like if you just stand still and jump,
Uh huh.
it's almost like Sam gets pulled to the ground by like the magnetic force. It's like he jumps and it looks good, and then all of a sudden, while his feet are still up in the air, he gets like slammed down on the ground again by like 10-pound force. Anyway,
Yeah. Right. Maybe
all sorts of weird shit.
they wanted to highlight the load that he's carrying, but when you do it in independent from actually playing the game, it just looks super strange.
So I did both. I
Oh
did
yeah, and it's still
carrying
cooked.
load. Yeah, it's still cooked. Yeah,
Oh
it
dear.
don't matter. Maybe if you have like heaps on you, it really is impossible to jump, and like it's just a value that they're changing. But I wasn't
Mhm.
I wasn't carrying enough to like see the difference. But either way, the default jump is really broken,
Yeah, right.
which you don't notice because very few times are you standing completely still and you press the jump button. Like
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
just a thing. You're usually moving,
yeah,
and that animation looks fine.
yeah.
So
Still,
yeah.
that's a cool little project to do.
Yeah. And so what I was getting to was I jumped into The Last of Us Part 2 because that game's animations are like absolutely they're like the bar, they set the
Yeah,
bar
yeah, hell
for
yeah.
like this is as good as it gets in modern video games within animation. Like this is just the best you can do.
Yeah.
And so naturally I was looking at it, and while I was in there starting the game up, I was like, "Oh, what's all this accessibility stuff?" Oh my
Mm,
god.
it's
That
pretty
game.
insane, isn't
Yeah.
it?
That game's accessibility apparently it won awards. for its accessibility stuff.
Oh, I'm sure it did. Like, there's I don't know. When I went, I feel like I had the impression that there were hundreds of options. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot.
So I screen recorded my time in the accessibility menu.
Oh, cool.
And I'll just read a few things out. This is just what I've got on the screen right now. It's got alternative controls, magnification of visual aids, motion sickness, navigation and traversal, text to speech and audio cues, combat accessibility. And then within one of those menus, you in alternative controls, you can change the bow controls, you can customize the regular controls, rope and ladder movement, guitar strumming input, melee while aiming, hold and presses, back like it just goes. The list just goes.
Oh man,
And then you
that's
can
so
do things like
awesome.
yeah, and then you can do things like HUD and colorblind mode, HUD color, change just the color of stuff in the world. You know
Yeah.
what danger is. Is it red or is it green?
Oh, bro.
Screen magnifiers. It's
Speaking of
just ridiculous.
speaking of colorblind stuff, like you don't
Mm,
need to be colorblind to miss sights of grace in the snow. Am I right? Like, how
yeah,
in God's name are you supposed to see that shit? It's
yeah,
just like, oh man, if that could be the standard where you had complete creative control over like what color things were. Like, I understand, the creator's gonna have some kind of vision or whatever, but like, just creating that much accessibility for everyone is absolutely the way to go.
yeah. Yeah, and so yeah, there's just and like it's not just a visual thing as well. Like they've got a whole section here on traversal, so like navigation assistance or traversal assistance or ledge guard stuff. So you just can't fall off ledges if you turn this on, or like if you don't want to perform a tricky jump, you just turn this on for traversal assistance and it will do the jump for you.
Oh,
So all
that's
sorts of stuff where
awesome.
like you don't have to worry about timing. Yeah, it's just incredible. There's a skip puzzle option here. If you don't want to do puzzles, you turn that on. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Like,
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah, yeah. And all sorts of stuff in here for, I'm just gushing right now about all this stuff, but there's like, they change the way the game functions at a fundamental level at a certain point. So they say, like, enemies won't flank you, or enemies don't approach you, or they don't dodge, or, you are actually invisible while you're going prone. So if you don't want to be
Yeah,
seen, that's an option to you. So it's
yeah.
just like, I had no idea that all this stuff was here. When I played it, I was like, in the chat to my work friends, I was like, did they patch this in? And apparently, no. Apparently, it's just like how they launched the game, which is incredible.
Yeah, that's so great. And
Yeah.
one topic that I'd love to do on here, difficulty in video games. That
Mm.
that game in particular had a great difficulty slider thing where
Yeah.
it wasn't just, easy, medium, hard. It like broke down different things. So there was
Mm.
like ammo scarcity, and you could, that had a 5 increment slider. There was enemy AI, so how smart they would be. And it was just really cool that you got to, you know, curate your own experience. You might be like,
Yeah.
oh, I really love the idea of searching for things, and I'd like things to be scarce. But when it comes to like shooting enemies, I'm really shit, at
Yeah.
FPS. So I want that to be like really easy, and it's just like, oh man, that's awesome. Like they put so much thought into how people could approach the game.
Yeah. Totally. And there's like, I played it with like aim assist on because I wanted to see what that looked like. And like it
Mm.
auto reticles on the target, and then you can use the right stick to like auto reticle down to the chest or to the feet. And I was like, if I had have known this was a way you could play the game, I might have played the game this way.
Yeah,
Because that's so cool and it works.
yeah.
It's like you can still miss your shot if you don't sort of get the thing in the right spot, but or if you shoot at a certain time, you can still miss. But just
Hmm.
like the fact that you can auto aim at different parts of the body and like they have UI built in for all of that stuff is so cool.
Yeah, that's great. And
But yeah,
then
I love all that stuff. Like the ammo scarcity. I didn't know you could toggle that on and up and down. That's sick. I kind of want to
yeah.
replay this game now.
Yeah, oh, I think eventually I'd love to replay it as well. And I'd be interested too because within the game, like as you play it, you can earn these points, which you can then apply to like there's an inbuilt game shark. I don't know what you call it, but like a bunch
Mm,
of cheat codes that you can spend the
yeah,
points on, so you can turn on like unlimited ammo and all kinds of stuff like that. And I just
mm,
I just love that. That's an option.
yeah, that's sick. Yeah, every game needs a freaking big head mode, man. Where's big head mode? Bring it
Yeah,
back.
agreed, agreed.
Bring back paintball bullets and all that dumb shit.
Oh man, that's God, that's really hitting me in the nostalgia nerve.
Yeah. Am I unlocking some memories for you right now?
Yeah, yeah, all the GoldenEye 64 no odd job memories.
Yeah, like turning the gravity off in Tony Hawk 2 and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Moon boots? Is that what the chi was? Moon boots? I
Oh
think that
yeah,
was what it was called.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh man, I loved all those games that had like quirky cheat codes. Like
Yeah.
StarCraft had like Black Sheep Wall. I
Oh,
can't remember what that does, but like, you could spawn Age of Empires was the same. You could spawn
yes.
like a car with a laser
Yeah.
and it
What
had
was that code? Was that like this like Lamborghini with a oh, what was the code
oh bro, come on man. It's been decades since I played that
though? Literal decades.
game. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh god. Right in. You know what? This is a great time. Remind us what that code was by emailing us
Oh shit.
at it's almost the weekend pod at gmail.com. I
Beautiful.
do it right? Yeah. Okay.
Beautiful
There's no
segue.
apostrophe either. It's just straight ahead lowercase text.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And let us know if you want a certain topic or you want to berate us on what we've said about previous topics. I'm very open to that.
Yeah. We've, like I said in the last episode, we've almost certainly said many things completely wrong, got things totally out of context. That's
Yeah,
just how we do.
absolutely. It's our
Yeah.
style.
Yeah.
So,
So,
so Joe, what do you want to talk about this week?
this week, I would like to talk about winning in video games.
All right, all right. So I have some like follow-up questions here
Okay.
because I want to know how specific we're being with the terminology. So
Okay.
when you say winning and like winning a video game, does that include finishing or beating a video game, or is this just specifically winning a video game? Because I'd argue that they're different.
Right. I want to say both because I really like, like you can win a level of a video game, like in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you beat the first level, that's like you win technically. You don't lose in that instance, right?
Yeah.
But you don't finish the video game when you beat the first level, right? Like you just continue. You haven't won yet. So there's like multiple tiers of winning.
Yeah, yeah, that's
And
right.
and and then there's finishing the video game, which I guess could be like in the case of The Last of Us 2, I don't really feel like I won anything by beating The Last of Us 2.
Right,
Like I
right.
kind of feel like I actually lost
Wha-
something.
yeah, you lost a part of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoilers. But yeah, it's yeah, there's different tiers and they kind of overlap a little bit, and I love that you brought it up. And there's also finishing a video game is something that I want to talk about on here because I've got on the list here a pile of shame.
Yeah, well, I'm
Um,
I'm pretty keen to get into that because
yeah.
my pile is quite small, but
Mm.
it's not so much a pile of shame as it is a pile of video games not worth playing. You
Oh,
feel
I
me?
love it. Yeah.
um, but yeah, I was gonna go so far to say that you really can only win in a video game where you have an opponent, like sports
Oh,
games or
okay.
in multiplayer shooters. Like I would argue that you don't win most
Tetris.
video games, except for Zelda CDI, where very clearly Link says I won at the end. Um,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
I I feel like in fighting games, in racing games, like these are games where you win the race, you win the Grand Prix, and I guess you win the video game. But they're like, it's weird syntax to say
Mm.
I won a video game. Like
Hmm.
I finished the game or I beat it. That makes more sense. But
Right.
but to win, I feel like you need an opponent because if you won, then something or someone else had to lose.
Yeah, I think what you touched on there. I mean, it's an interesting discussion. I'm going to stand by it. I think that when you say something else has to lose, the game is the thing that loses in the case that you're not playing against another human or an AI, right? Like
Okay.
you can, it, with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles example,
Hmm.
if you don't beat the first level, the game beat you, and and you lost.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right. I can see that perspective. It's kind of the original arcade
Yeah,
style where you know you get a you lose screen.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right.
But
Yeah, right.
the like, I get your side as well, right? Like if you're playing a game that has like checkpoints or whatever, and you die, you don't really lose. You just sort of like temporarily hinder your progress. You know, it's not like you've lost really.
Yeah, and like most of the games I play are, you know, like Persona, um, Ghost of Tsushima, Spider Man, God of War. Like, I
Hmm.
don't really feel like you win in any of these games.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That's a good point.
but you know, we're kind of getting in the weeds around the specific definition of winning. But for me, it just brought like my history of playing sports games to the forefront. And even though in a lot of those games you are versing an opponent, I've also played like way back when on the PS2, like wakeboarding games or like skateboarding games where you're competing against like a time trial or like
Yeah. Yeah.
you're trying to get a certain amount of points,
Yeah.
and still the terminology of winning there feels a bit strange.
Oh, right. Yeah. Right. Um. Yeah. I don't know. Well, maybe it links a little bit back. I don't know if it actually needs to be like a defined thing. Maybe it does. I don't know. Like if you were writing like a book on what video games are, and you were writing a chapter on winning versus losing, or finishing a game versus not finishing a game. You know, like there's all sorts of different like layers to,
Hmm.
or like sports games versus games where you're not fighting an opponent or an AI. Like you can't win or lose in Animal Crossing. You can't win or lose in The Sims, can you? I don't know. When your sim dies and there's nothing left to do, is that when you lose The Sims?
Yeah. Oh, bro, that's like a philosophical question.
When you die in the game and you die in real life, have you lost? This topic is weird, man. I think we've I accidentally put a weird one in this week.
That's all right. I'm keen on it.
Yeah.
Like one of the prompts you've got here is around when like where winning feels drastically different between games, and I think there are some games where you absolutely feel like you are the victor and you know you've crushed your opponent, and that game is Super Smash Bros. Like
Hmm.
when you know when you're having bouts with someone and you like beat them again and again, or you just have a spectacular match, even a one off,
Yep.
and you beat them, and like you know it it really does feel like a you know tennis championship moment where you've got like a fist in the air and you're like I
Yeah.
am the chosen one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know like sports games or even like you know a CS:GO lobby where you win as the terrorists or whatever, like it feels good, but I don't think anything compares to that feeling in Smash Bros.
Right. Yeah. What does the screen say at the end of Smash Bros. When you won? Does it say victor or does it say winner? What does it say?
Oh, bro.
I
I haven't played Smash Bros in years.
know. Yeah, me
Yeah,
neither.
yeah.
What because I know at the start it's like ready fight or whatever. Oh,
Uh, uh,
three,
it
two, one. No,
it
what does
just
it
it
say?
just says game at the end.
Game? Oh,
Yeah,
it says game. Okay,
yeah,
that's weird.
yeah. And then yeah, and then the next screen says first and second. You know, it like just shows you who's first.
Right, but it doesn't say like the winner is or anything like that.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. And then there's like well, let's maybe we should go over like pile of shame stuff because I think that's like an interesting thing. Like if you haven't, it's like an adjacent thing, you know. Like if you haven't finished any of those games, for me, I feel as though I may just never get to them, and for that, that's not winning. I'll never
Yeah,
win those games. They're just there.
yeah.
Um,
So
tell
I
me the ones that you played that or that you haven't played that you don't think are worth playing, or vice versa.
yeah, okay. So I want to just introduce this list. I'm not. I don't have malicious intent I'm not trying to start any wars or anything
I do.
like that. Um, but kicking things off with Ocarina of Time, um, I first played that game about 10 years ago now, and I stopped playing when I got to the water temple, which
Yeah.
is probably some people's experience if they don't have the nostalgia tied to that game.
Yeah.
And I was in there for ages, and I beat the water temple, and then I just put it down because I was like, for the most part, I kind of get the atmosphere. Like, this game has a lot going for it. The atmosphere is cool. The story is interesting. The music is great. But I'm just not enjoying it. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
it's good enough to keep playing.
Yeah. Right. Which
Uh,
water temple was it? Was it the Jabu Jabu
oh
Valley, or was it?
God, there's more than one water temple. Jesus, that it was probably the first water
So
temple.
you were a young Link at the time.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I'd done any of the timey wimey wibbly wobbly stuff.
Okay, yeah, yeah. That is hard. Like you get the boomerang and stuff in that one, and it's a bit annoying.
Mm.
And there's like weird not traversal, weird vertical stuff you've got to do in that, which kind of introduces you later on to some more vertical stuff that happens later on in the big water temple. But yeah, it's I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it
Um,
just like it introduced a lot of mechanics that happen in a 3D space, and it just
yeah,
felt like that game wasn't quite ready for 3D space.
yeah, 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 yeah. Fair enough.
But yes, I stopped playing that. Doom Eternal, I know.
Yeah, that's on my list too.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, so like I loved the first Doom. I just think they absolutely knocked it out of the park. And with the second Doom, they introduced all of this platforming, and for me, they just removed the conveyance from that game. I got stuck 3 times with no idea where to go, and I didn't look it up, and maybe I should have just to end my suffering. But there was one point where, like, for like 30 minutes, I was just passing the controller back and forth between me and Phoebe as we tried to
yeah,
work out like where to go next.
yeah,
And it's such a pity because the battle arenas in that game are incredible. The combat
yeah,
is so good, but because they stretched the arenas out and had like these big winding, I don't know, it was weird. It's like they weren't corridors, but it wasn't open world. It was just very confusing. And
yeah.
I've never had a game made me feel as dumb as Doom
Yes,
Eternal. and
totally.
and I thought I was alone until I saw a video by Zero Lenny, who does like Dark Souls content usually. But he did a video on Doom Eternal, and he got stuck exactly where I did, and he got stuck for like 40 minutes, and he's like, I had no idea what to do here. I'm like, oh, thank God, it's not just me. Like
Yeah.
that game was so confusing to get around.
Yeah. I mean, I think in Doom's case, it's like it's forgivable if it happens to you once, maybe twice, right? Like
Mm.
if you get to a section and you're just like, I don't know where to fucking go here, and you end up like walking around for a long time, and then maybe you look it up after 20 minutes or something. Either
Hmm.
way, that is awful in a game like Doom because Doom is all about that momentum, baby. You're like going
Right.
fast and taking names and shooting dudes, and like there's no time for walking around trying to find the right glowy button to punch.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
the
Exactly.
thing with that game is it just keeps doing it, and it totally grinds that pace to a fucking snail's pace halt. Like it's so bad.
Yeah.
And the other thing that that game did, which I thought was neat, but maybe not the right flavor again because of the pace thing, is
Mhm.
all of the optional extra mechanic stuff. So you can like upgrade your guns, and there's like modifiers and all of that extra
Yeah,
stuff.
the overworld stuff in the spaceship, I don't know. I
Yeah,
feel like that
yeah,
was just another momentum killer. It
yeah,
it went more for the RPG elements rather than just the hardcore FPS momentum based stuff, which
yep.
made the first one so good.
Yeah. I think it would have been nice if they had some stuff in there for upgrading, like maybe just like a single skill tree, not like 5 skill trees or whatever there ended up being. Like just give me a little taste. I don't need the whole experience.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
yeah, that's it's just sorry.
I was gonna say I'm glad um, you've got that on your list as well because I think that was one of the games that you've lent me
Yes.
over the years, and yeah, just super strange design decisions for me. I was just like, man, like
Yeah.
maybe if you're designing this and you know where to go, it's great, but like being a noob, like it was just not that enjoyable.
Yeah, it definitely feels like I remember when we were talking about playtesting in one of the episodes, it definitely feels like there was like a lack of playtesting, or at least they
Mm,
didn't maybe they had the playtesting and it just didn't have time to implement or didn't listen. Because
mm,
yeah, I think if you are a design lead or like a gameplay lead on Doom Eternal and you see people playing the game and you're really digging it, and then they get to a section and they're made to feel dumb and the game slows down to the point where they're waiting for 30 minutes to solve a puzzle,
mm,
like that's not in the right aesthetic of the game, you know, like it's not
mm.
that's not what Doom is to me at least.
Yeah, yeah, like, this ain't Portal 2. I wanna slay some demons.
Yeah, yeah, and it's maybe they changed what they wanted the core game to feel like in that game, but yeah, I don't know. Doom for me is like such a it's almost like a comfort food thing, you know, like you know what you're gonna get when you boot it up. Like I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
get to kill some fucking demons, and like it's gonna be gory, and there's no story really.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I just want to kill some demons real fast with Mick Gordon trading in the background. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Doesn't and it
Yeah,
feels so annoying that it just that it didn't really hit that
yeah,
because it feels like such a simple thing to hit because they've done it
yeah,
before. Just do it again.
yeah.
Anyway,
Do you know if our sentiments are shared with the general public? Because I feel like that game is beloved by the
yeah,
community.
I don't know. I'd have to look into it and see.
Yeah, okay.
Chat to some more people.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right. Well,
oh, how about I do a couple?
yeah, yeah. Let's hear.
All right, hell yeah. All right, I got Resident Evil 4.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
shit. I've heard that's a really good one, and I'm
Okay.
really excited to play it. But
Yeah.
why did you stop playing?
So I played Resident Evil 4 right before the new Resident Evil came out. I can't remember what it was called. Resident Evil, the one with the big mummy, the big
Oh,
vampire lady,
oh
Lady
yeah.
Dimitrescu.
Uh, Resident
I think
Evil
it's
8.
8. Yeah, I think it's just called 8. I thought it had
Yeah.
a name, but I think it's just 8. 'Cause I was like, I want to get into the Resi vibes
Mhm.
before I play this new game.
Mhm.
And I was like, surely this game's, you know, like 8 hours long. I'm just going to be able to play it over a couple of evenings and it'll be fine. No,
Yeah.
that game's massive, dude. Like, it's huge.
Really?
There's so much content. Yeah.
No shit.
And there's a certain point in that game, I don't think it's spoiling anything, where you have a companion.
Mhm.
There's lots of footage, and I think it's on the back. You carry your companion around by the hand,
Mhm.
and she's just like weak, has no health, and she always yells out, Ethan, or whatever, you know? Like,
That sounds like
so
eco.
annoying. Yeah, it's like eco. It's just like again, you know, like we're here to shoot zombies and like kick zombies in the chest and die in like weird gruesome ways. And there's like some cool, you know, Cthulhu style horror at times, right? Where like
Oh,
things don't really
cool.
make sense and stuff like that. But yeah, that they just don't. They kind of missed the mark a little bit by adding this companion that's weak and that you have to babysit. It just becomes one long escort mission.
Oh man,
Um,
the
and
bane,
yeah,
the bane of game design escort missions.
yeah, and I think maybe there's like maybe I'm sort of not giving enough credit. Maybe you leave the escort lady behind, and there's times where you don't have her anymore. But the from what I could tell, it was just like she's just yours now. She's your responsibility.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Uh, but it is a cool game. I remember really enjoying it. It's just large and in charge and has an escort mission.
Yeah, well, they're remaking it.
Oh,
Um,
sick.
so I wonder what they'll change because I was pretty keen to pick it up because it's always on sale on Switch or PS4 or whatever.
Yeah, it is
But
always on sale.
yeah, but if they remade it, that could be a pretty good time to go and revisit.
Yeah. And then my second one. Wait, did I do two? I think I just did one. Yeah.
You just did one. We
Okay.
shared Doom Eternal, but go on.
Ah, right. The second one. I got a whole list here. I'm just trying to pick something that I think we might be able to bounce off. Hotline Miami.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, I
All
never
right.
finished it. Yeah. Did
Okay.
you?
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
actually finished it a couple of times.
Oh hell yeah.
I just, sometimes I would just play it for the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Um, I remember like it was one of the first games I played when I got like a really good speaker system,
Oh
and
right.
and man, like God, it's just great, tight gameplay, and man, that soundtrack like can really can really pull you back into a game.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
I
but
do want to
why
go
did you
back.
stop?
It just got too hard. I
Right.
couldn't
Yeah.
beat it.
Yeah.
And that game has that thing where like when you die, it just throws you straight back in, and then you can die just as fast as
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's so merciless.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think I just got to a level when I was like, oh, I died too many times. I'm not really making any progress here, and I just shut it off and never went back.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember the last few levels being pretty hardcore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, you got
Hotline
another
Mi-
one, or do you
uh,
want to?
yeah. Yeah, bro. Yeah. I still got some games to shit on.
Let's do it.
Another game you lent me, Final Fantasy 15.
Oh,
Um,
screw that game. Oh my god.
so I'm pretty sure you finished this one, right?
Oh, I hate finished this game. I wish I didn't.
So I've got a long history of hate finishing games, and it's not unusual for me to finish books, games, movies, even when I'm not enjoying them.
Mm.
I just like I've got commitment issues, but the other way around where I just overcommit.
Yeah.
But with this game, man, that was not a problem. Like I I don't know what I wanted. I just wanted some like vulnerability between some boys and some positive masculinity,
Yeah.
and like I got a bit of that, but there was just I don't know, there was something missing in this game. It just kind of felt like there are a bunch of voids
Yeah.
in the car travel
Oh
parts
my god.
in the combat. I mean, this I don't even remember the story. I'm sure it was like A plus Final Fantasy cooked shit. Um, but yeah, like this game just felt pretty empty from memory.
Yeah. It was super empty. Look, the thing that bothered me about this game, right, is like they sell this whole like camaraderie, you car travel around with your good leather boys, and you eat meals together, and then there's even like this section where they introduce like monster hunting, where they're like, okay, this is how a hunt works, like you get down in the shadows, you like creep along the monster, you stalk it, you see where it's gonna go next, and then you pop out at like the opportune moment. And I was like, sick. And then that never happens again in the entire game. Like you just fight monsters normally, regularly, and like the whole car travel thing is like it's basically just one really long loading screen, which becomes skippable. That if you have the patience for, you can sit and listen to the boys in the car occasionally have a weak conversation with one another based
Right.
on like things that might be going on, but oftentimes they just repeat the same audio.
Oh
Like it's
god.
there's just like nothing. There's nothing there for me in that game. It's dull as dishwater. The combat is fine, but like it just is such a repetitive rinse and repeat style, number churn where like you just
Hmm.
do the same actions over and over again.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just completely one of my least favorite games that I finished. There's so many other games that are amazing that I just like have not gone back to, but the fact that I don't know what it is that made me want to finish this game, but I don't know. I must have been in some sort of fugue state of fever had gripped me.
Yeah, look, like it happens, We start doing
Wish it
something
didn't.
and we've got tunnel vision and we're just doing it and then it's over and we're like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Like
Yeah,
this is not how to spend time.
yeah, truly, truly. All right, what's your next one?
Yeah, moving right along. We don't need to give that game any more airtime, even if it is negative. Uh, Man, Ghost of Tsushima, and I've touched on this a little.
Ah,
I've touched on this a little bit, but I don't think that's a great game. I don't even think it's a good game.
mm,
I think it's just above average, but
mm,
there are a lot of bad things in that game. Number one, the story. The story is atrocious. Like, I mean, I just feel like there are so many like more interesting stories out there in that world they've created. The main character, oh my god, just the worst. One of the
Hmm.
worst, like, basic ass dudes. And the way that, like, you run around and everyone treats you as Lord, like, it's just so uninteresting.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to play some dude who's had it all and already has everyone's respect.
Yeah.
It's so weird, like, you grow your legend when everyone knows you. Everyone. Like,
Yeah.
in a time where there's no Twitter, you running around and complete strangers are like, Lord Sakai, what's going on? And it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
dude, you
There's
don't
the
know
ghost.
me. You
Yeah.
you live out here on the coast and you've lived here for like 20 generations being fishermen. You don't know
Yeah.
shit. And
You have a pig for a husband.
yeah, like,
How do you know me?
yeah, and oh,
Yeah.
the dialogue is just atrocious. Like,
Yeah.
the way they framed everything around honor, like, it was just so fatiguing. You go to pick up a Mongol weapon, and your uncle's like, "You wouldn't dare. It's not honorable." And it's like, dude,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
wartime. Like, fuck honor.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I know it's like a mainstay in Japanese culture, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's has this staying power, and the way of the samurai is absolutely transitioned to the way of the salaryman. And I get that, but it's just like, when you are creating a game, and like, they obviously wanted it to be fun, and for the most part, like, the combat is fun at the very least, I'll give it that. But like, man, they just made so many boring choices, and so many choices around the way they designed the story that were just uninteresting as hell. Like,
Yeah.
I was just waiting for something to happen. And I played it for like 30-35 hours, and I was
Yeah.
just like, this is just the same thing over and over again, and the
Yeah.
characters are bland, and the story doesn't feel like it was written past. It feels like they created an algorithm that churned through every story ever written, and it spat out the most average result of all
Right.
those stories.
Yeah.
It was just, yeah, I could not get through it.
Yeah. I don't remember a lot of the story, to be honest. I remember there being like a tenuous relationship between this, Lord Sakai and his dad, and I think his grandfather was involved. And then there was the falling off of the bridge moment, and you lost your dad at that point, like he was taken from you.
Yeah, that was your uncle, but yeah,
That was
that's
your
like,
uncle.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there was a bit of familial tensions going on, and then
Hmm.
you like get him back, and it's like, oh, you've become this like stealthy boy, and he's like, okay, it's not good. You got to go back to being samurai.
Yeah,
And
and
then you
like,
never really do that.
dude, the stealth stuff as well. Like, there's some moments where, like, some wife just saw her husband get maimed and burned hanging from a tree, and you like kill someone with stealth, and she's like shocked, and you're
Yeah,
like, dude, are you
yeah,
serious? It's
yeah,
wartime. What about your
yeah,
husband? And she's like, you snuck up behind that guy. Where's the honor? And it's like,
yeah,
oh Jesus.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I would.
The,
I was ready to punch the screen at some points in that game.
no. Yeah, they had it also felt so they had like Kurosawa mode. Do you remember how they did
Oh
that?
yeah, yeah. No, I quite enjoyed that. That was a great option.
So I'm about to shit on Kurosawa mode now.
Yeah, I've
But
got like two things I like about that game, and you're like, all right, let's tear this apart.
yeah. So do you know the legendary Japanese director Kurosawa?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So he, famously he's really good at putting together elements on the screen in a way that's still and relies on, background movement to like add tension or fuel emotion, or just that he's just like a mise-en-scene legend.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the shots and action and story in this game, it was regular shot reverse shot style stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There was very very rarely was there like Kurosawa style moments.
Right.
And it felt very much just like a toddler wearing his dad's shoes and jacket. It's like, look, Dad, I'm you, and it's it felt like a really weak homage and almost offensive in a way. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, for me, it was just like it was just sepia with some grain. Like I think
Right.
it was, the marketing department named it Kurosawa mode. Like
Oh yeah.
I don't think much thought was put into it aside from making it black and white and grainy. I
Right,
I
but then call it like cinematic mode or something. Like then
yeah.
why like tarnish the name of a legendary director by calling it Kurosawa mode? Like I just feel like you're like it's lipstick on a pig. Like
Yeah, look, I mean, if we're dumping on Ghost of Tsushima, I agree. I agree.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's enough dumping.
That-
Here is a game that I genuinely respect that I have that is on my pile of shame, and
Oh,
it's
okay. So you're
uh
actually feeling shame on this one.
yeah,
All right.
Ori and Will of the Wisps.
Oh man, I want to play that game. It looks great.
Yeah, yeah. Apart from the fact that the other day we learned that the studio is a bad place to work. Apparently, there's terrible crunch and a bad studio director or something.
Oh man,
Um,
I honestly that seems like every studio except Supergiant. It
yeah,
seems like every studio is just a shit place to work and has, a core of abuse
of
and
rotten. Yeah,
misogyny
yeah,
and nepotism.
yeah. I've been very blessed and lucky and only had that happen twice in my career. So and one it wasn't even in games. So and
Yeah.
actually no, but both times it wasn't in games. It was advertising and film. All the game studios that I've worked at have been fine. One of them was pretty close to being bordering on a bit of that nepotism and sexism stuff,
Hmm.
but it never like boiled to the surface in any real way. It all sort of simmered around. Compared to some of the experiences of my peers, it's definitely been. It was it's nothing compared to what they went through. So
Right.
anyway, Ori and Will of the Wisps, I was really enjoying it. It has like cool RPG elements. It's like 2D side scroller with 3D animated assets. Um, Beautiful game, beautiful soundtrack, cool mechanics,
Mm,
cool. It's just cool overall, and I just stopped playing, and I don't know why.
yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Is this the first one or the second one? Because there's
the
two.
second one.
The
Yeah, I
second
never
one,
played the
right?
first one.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
um,
mean, I've seen a trailer and I've listened to the soundtrack, and it just looks awesome.
yeah, yeah. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Right.
speaking of games of a similar ilk, I never finished Hollow Knight as well. I got really close, but
Oh my god! Look, what are we on? Episode 5. Look, I've wanted to hold back on the Hollow Knight talk because I could seriously talk about Hollow Knight straight for 10 hours. I
oh
think
wow,
I think it's like the pinnacle of video gaming. I think it's the only game I've ever played that's a 10.
wow,
It's
okay,
it's just perfect. The combat is polished to perfection. The characterizations are incredible. The world is just so interesting to explore. It's the ultimate child. When you have a child, you want them to have a better life than you did. And
mm-hmm.
Castlevania and Super Metroid, like, they needed to exist for this game to happen.
Right,
And this game is better than both of them. It takes all of their best elements and improves on them. The music is incredible. At full price, it's 17 Australian dollars.
mm,
Like, it's just it has no flaws. It's kid friendly.
mm.
None of the script has swear words or anything like that. And oh man, yeah, I could go on for hours. I think it's just the if you're into that kind of thing, because it
Yeah,
definitely has some pretty difficult sections to see it through to the end, and it doesn't really have any spoon feeding.
yeah. I
Um,
think that's the thing that people come up against with that game.
yeah, yeah, like especially because there's such a focus on exploration and marking your map when you
Yeah,
find a place that progress can be made here, but you can't make it right now.
yeah,
Like
yep.
that's key. Um, but like for me, when I played it, I was just like, all right, I've got some coin here. I go to the shop. I can buy badges to to put on my map, and just like exploring the world and it felt like the first time for me in a game where like I opened the map and like I was using it as a map. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
I had all these markers. I had different markers for different things. Like, you know, it really did feel like I was, you know, tramping through the unknown. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, shit, man, that game is beautiful.
Yeah, I think when people like really praise on Elden Ring for having a map without map markers and stuff, they forget Hollow Knight exists.
Yeah, and
Um,
you know, Hollow Knight definitely takes some inspiration from those FromSoft games.
mm,
Um, like it, you know, one thing in the FromSoft games that I would have loved to see return is in Bloodborne, when you die, sometimes your blood echoes are on the ground, and sometimes a nearby enemy has like munched them up and their eyes are glowing,
yeah,
and you've got to
yeah,
kill them to get the blood echoes back. And I thought that was so cool.
yeah. That's pretty
And
cool.
Hollow Knight kind of treats it in a similar way where when you die, you basically leave your regrets in shadow form,
Mm,
and to get your coin back, you've got to go and beat your shadow form. And it's just like it's a really cool kind of way to treat that souls like, you know, dying, going back, getting your souls or whatever, and then making slightly more progress.
yeah, yeah. It was very elegant, that game, in a lot of
Mm,
ways.
yeah, yeah. And like tiny Australian team, like goddamn that there's only pros to talk about Hollow
Mm,
Knight.
yeah, yeah. And then they've got Silk Song that's just been so shrouded in mystery and just, probably going to drop on our laps randomly in the middle of the night or something.
Yeah,
You know?
well, it was announced like 3 years ago,
Yeah,
um, and I'm honestly happy for that game never to come out.
yeah,
Like Hollow Knight is just so perfect, and I'm just like, you know, it's like a band you follow where every release they get better, and you like the
mm,
music even more, and you're just like, man, how are they going to be able to top this? And like
yeah,
some bands, they just pull it out of their ass, and you're like, oh my god.
yeah.
And I wonder if they're going to be able to do it with Silksong.
I'm optimistic. I think
Oh,
with every game that you make, there's always lessons that you learn, right?
hmm
Like there's always like things that you come away from having done something like that. And I think given the success and the things that they have done really well inside of Hollow Knight, I think that the lessons that they have learned will put them in a really good place to do something not even better, but in a similar vein, but maybe evolved in a way that works really nicely for the follow up. But you never know.
yeah,
They could just be like, "Oh, we hated the way you had to use the map. Here's like a map with all. Who knows what they're gonna fucking do? It could be anything."
yeah. Well, that's a good point. It'll just be interesting to see how success impacts them.
Mm,
Because I don't know the history of the individuals, but like I know that studio's pretty new, and
yeah,
like I think Hollow Knight is their only game.
yeah,
But you know, maybe they were made up of people with heaps of experience in the industry.
yeah. Who knows? And then as well, it depends on what kind of success. Like I don't know how well Hollow Knight do really well.
On its release, no, like
Yeah,
it wasn't nominated for anything the year it came out, but when it came to Switch, it just exploded, and I think you know, in retrospect, it was given some awards for something. But yeah, it I think it did financially really well eventually, but it you know, it was a bit of a sleeper hit, like it didn't happen straight away.
yeah, yeah. There's three dudes in this team.
Yeah, see that blows my mind because
Yeah,
oh man, like I recommended it to Phoebe's brother Will,
yeah.
and and like I would just check in, and I was like, dude, how good's the music? And he's like, it's so good. I was like, where are you up to? He's like, man, I'm like 100 hours in. I'm just
Wow,
having such a great time. And I was like, yes,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Um, the I'm trying to find who their publisher is and if they have one, but I can't see it on their website.
Um,
Uh,
they they were. originally a Kickstarter. I don't know if that
Right.
means anything.
It
Um,
does, but that doesn't necessarily mean they don't have a publisher now.
right.
But yeah, if you want to write in and tell me if you know who their publisher is, it might be Microsoft. They
Oh
fucking
yeah.
own everyone. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, it's really interesting because like when you think about a game that came out and didn't have mind-boggling success
Mm.
as an indie, and then their follow-up has been in development for what 5 years now,
Mm. Yeah.
6, something like that.
Well, I think they finished DLC for Hollow Knight
Right,
in 2017 because,
right,
like, I think it came out in 2016, and then, bro, they just shoved heaps of free shit in there, and the DLC is incredible. Like
right.
the soundtrack stays amazing, and it adds these like boss fights. Like, oh my god, that game. Anyway, I like they finished up on Hollow Knight in 2017, I think. So I don't know
Yeah.
if they started straight away, but they're looking at 5 years.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean the thing is, even though it's a small studio, 3 guys, they all are probably taking, reasonable salaries. Like what how long can you sustain salaries like that if you are just going off of sales? Probably not that long.
I mean,
So
it depends because I think Hollow Knight ended up selling millions of copies.
yeah.
And if that, if they don't have a publisher and that's between three guys,
They might
I,
be all right.
I think they might be all right for quite some
Yeah.
time. But
Yeah.
don't quote me on that. I don't actually know.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, well, that's
Um
that's a good one, and you should absolutely feel some shame there.
yeah, I mean hearing you talk about the DLC and everything makes me want to go back, but I've got, Elden Ring to finish and
Yeah.
there's a ninja game you told me about, the messenger, that apparently is incredible,
Oh
and
yeah, I really like it. I'm not being like 10 out of 10 best game ever, but
yeah,
it's just really great, and you can tell that there's a lot of love.
yeah. So we're coming up towards time here. This episode went from winning to our pile of shame, which I'm happy with. I'm glad we ended up going down the pile of shame. I've got heaps more on my list here. I'm just going to list them off,
Bro,
and if any of them
rapid
catch your
fire.
attention, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
So I've got Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I've got Returnal.
Oh man, I can't wait to play that one.
Oh, I'm so pumped for you to play Returnal, and I really want to go back and finish it. I've got Half-Life Alex, which I'd never even started because I don't own a VR yet.
Oh right.
Transistor.
Oh man, that game's
Yeah,
only like 4 hours long.
yeah. I never finished it.
Oh,
You should go
I,
back.
I wonder if you can go back because like I loved it at the time and like I think I beat it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
But that was when
Oh,
it came out, and you know Hades kind of like how you were saying you learn a lot when a developer makes a video game. Like
mm,
holy shit, it's just like you can see the elements of Transistor that they reworked in Hades, and they've
yeah,
they've just made it so much better in Hades.
yeah. Hell yeah. Song of Horror. Both of us never finished, but for
Oh,
good
I
reasons.
forgot about that. Yeah, fuck that game. Holy shit. So like we got to episode
Mhm.
5, and the first puzzle in episode 5 is mind-bogglingly stupid.
Yeah,
There's just it's so absurd. There's no way that
yeah,
that you could be expected to get that. And when we were up to that, we ended up looking it up, and we just found all these clips of streamers, playing the game and
yeah.
getting
Not
stuck
doing
and
it.
having
Yeah,
no idea what to do.
yeah. Was that the one with the faces and you had to like name who was in the picture or whatever?
Yeah, yeah, there was a picture and faces for sure. That's
Yeah.
all I remember.
God. And then the follow-up puzzle was like a pipe puzzle, which just looked completely out of control. Like there was like 50 moving parts. And I was like, I don't think we want to do this anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's such a shame that a lot of horror games feel they have to lean on puzzles so hard to
yeah,
create an experience
yeah,
because I don't think that's totally necessary.
yeah. Yeah. And then I've got Divinity Original Sin 2.
Oh shit! Oh dude, I forgot about that. I haven't finished that either, and
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah, me too.
Love that game. But yeah, I haven't finished that either.
Yep. This one's really shameful. You haven't played it, but I've told you to finish to play it, and it won a bunch of awards at the IGD. No, what are they called? The game, not the Game Awards. They won a bunch of awards recently.
Okay.
Inscription.
Oh, yeah. I mean, all I know is that it's called Inscription, and I can play it on computer, and
Yep.
it's on the list.
Okay.
But yeah, whenever you recommend a game, I get excited because
Yeah.
your track record is phenomenal.
It has it won like best in show. It won like best sound.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, it won a bunch of awards, 3 or 4.
Great.
And yeah, I got up to a certain point in the game, and I was like, I don't want to continue this right now. It was different to how it was before, and I didn't like the way that it had changed.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Hellblade,
Hellblade. Oh,
Senua's Sacrifice.
Setsuna or Setsu. Yeah, that one. Yeah,
Yeah,
I that's the one that was lauded for its facial animations, right?
yeah, small. It was like double A. This is what they said it was. You know, like this indie sized team, not a massive company, and
Hmm.
they did some really cool facial animation stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know anything about that game, but I've heard it's good.
Yeah. Said Transistor before. Hades.
Oh
Which
yeah. I
is just
mean, that's an interesting one, right? Because in a way, it's a never-ending roguelike. Like
mm,
I beat the story and got the final ending, and then I got all the achievements, and then I did a few more runs. Like how do you know it's
yeah,
over when you can keep playing?
yeah, yeah. Speaking of winning, you never win that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Cuphead, which we were playing together very briefly, but never
Oh,
went back to.
bro, you've got some memory. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, that was really fun, but
yeah.
I haven't tried to play that solo without you.
I reckon when we're all back together and stuff, we should have another run at Cuphead. That was fun.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Oh, another game where you can just tell so much love went into it.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Very. They had a Netflix series come out.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I
I
saw
haven't
that.
watched it, but it looks cool.
Yeah, good for them.
And then the last one I've got here is Prey, the old one and the new one. I never finished it, but I was really enjoying the new Prey.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me about some DLC they added called like Moonshot or
Yeah, Moon Crash, I
Moon
think,
Crash. Yeah, and you
something
said
like
it
that.
was like a roguelike or something?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was playing the main game so that I could get to understand, just begin to play the roguelike element, and never finish the main game.
Right.
So one of these days, uh, probably never, I will go back.
Yeah, well, I'd definitely like to visit it. It looked really interesting. Like it kind of looked like BioShock in space.
Yeah, yeah. And that's it. That's all I've got on my list. I'm sure there's more, but that was just this morning before we started the pod. I ran around the house and looked at my Steam library and jotted down some notes
Oh yeah. I mean,
for what I hadn't played.
that's a great list. I think you've got some spectacular titles in there to go back to.
Yeah, we've got
I
to add
didn't.
Hollow Knight.
Yeah. Well, I didn't feel like when I put my list together that, you know, I really wanted to revisit any of them. But you saying Divinity, I was like, "Ooh, yeah,
Mm,
man. When you've got that like deep RPG itch and
yeah,
turn-based combat itch that needs to be scratched, like that is the game."
yeah,
Um,
totally.
I think that game is really difficult to go back to after a break, though.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I'd have no idea what was going on in the story at all.
yeah, I mean, I'd have no idea like where I was or how to even play anymore, to
Yeah,
be honest.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, that's a great game.
And then to wind us up, I'm going to introduce a new segment.
Oh hell yeah! I love segments. Hit me with your segment.
I'm gonna call it Joe's Good News.
Oh
Um, yeah,
hell
it's
yeah!
just a little bit of video game news from the week that is good mostly.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Um, I don't want to like have stuff. I really like how we don't talk about like current events in this podcast. Like we're not talking about any of the world events, but I
Oh,
wanted to like have little date stamps in the episodes, and I think weekly news is a
oh,
way to
cool.
help that a little bit.
Yeah, cool. All right.
So
What
I'll leave
what have you
links
got
in
there?
the. Oh yeah, here's what I've got. I'll leave some links in the poddy description for you to all to go check out this stuff if you want to. So the first point I've got here is Bloodborne Kart. Have you seen anything about this yet?
Come on, is that an April Fool's thing?
No,
That
no. I'll paste a link in the Discord for you
what?
to check out. All you need to do is click the play button, and I want to get your live feelings.
What the fuck? Are you insane? Bloodborne cart, like a licensed. After last week when we were talking about kart races, you're saying they've announced Bloodborne kart.
Have you got the message? Check in your
Oh,
Discord.
are you kidding me right now? What the hell? All right, all right. Current. We're doing this live. Okay, Twitter, Bloodborne cart. Let's have a look. What
I'll
the
watch it as
whirly
well.
gig wheels? What the fuck, bro? Is this like NES?
Yeah. Okay. So this person, this bolster, I believe it is, it's the person who is responsible for creating this PS1. They call it the PSX re-release of Bloodborne. They did a really popular, um, not a mod, I guess you would call it. It's more of just like a re-release of the first part of Bloodborne, but in the style of the PlayStation One. And
Right. So,
so,
oh, so this is fan made stuff.
yes, fan made. Yes,
Right. Okay, dude. I was like
you thought you were getting some real
imagining
FromSoft.
board meetings with Miyazaki and him being like, "Look, we definitely need Bloodborne cart and we need it demade as fuck."
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna de-res it. There's gonna be 12 pixel by 12 pixel textures.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no. So this person, I think it's a small team. I'm not sure exactly. I should go and look it up before I put it in. But yeah, the person who released this saw great success on Twitch. So at a certain point when he released this PSX remake of Bloodborne, I think it takes you up to the bridge fight. That's the first boss,
Oh yeah.
and then the demo ends. But it's like a really faithful remake of the game, and it's a little bit easier than the original Bloodborne as well. But and yeah, it's all in this like low, super low PS1 style graphics,
That's so cool.
and it was dope. I watched my friend play it. It was really cool.
Sick.
And yeah, so they just released this, or they're about to release. They've been tweeting about this Bloodborne cart, which looks extremely cool.
Wow. How did they do that without copying a cease and desist?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's wild. Very
Yeah,
cool all the same.
yeah, yeah. Um, and then the next thing in the news is the Halo TV series streaming on Paramount. Have you seen anything about this?
Yeah, it popped up on my like Prime thing,
Oh,
and I was like, "What the hell? Halo TV series? Like, is it live action?"
it is, yeah.
Wow.
And in the first episode, Master Chief takes his helmet off.
Oh man, I really hope it's a girl.
No, I haven't seen it, but I think it is a man. Master Chief is a man.
Oh, that would just make me so happy. You know, a bit of a
Yeah,
tip of the cap to Samus as
yeah,
well. Like, oh
that would
man,
be wild.
yeah.
But yeah, apparently it's not great. There's some good visuals
Uh,
and stuff in the first episode. There's like a fight scene, but the like this is an interesting thing. Maybe we should do a future topic on is video games that have film or TV adaptations.
oh yeah, that's gonna be messy because
Yeah,
they're never good. But yeah, I'd be
no,
I'd be happy to dump on some more shit.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and this is an example of a property that hasn't got the most adaptable, in my opinion, um, lore or story.
I
Like there's
mean,
in books for Halo, which apparently are all right.
yeah, I've heard that, but isn't Halo just kind of having this prolonged fall from grace? Like, when has there been a Halo game that was just kick ass? Like, it's
Right.
been a long time.
Like Halo 3 was kind of the last one to do anything real.
Yeah, like we played Halo 4 together when it came out,
Yeah.
and like it was fine.
Yeah.
But man, just Halo 1 and 3, like they're still the best Halos.
Yeah. I think people really like Halo 2 as well. Like those first three are kind of really highly respected.
Yep. Yep. They're
Um,
just so much fun.
yeah, the co-op thing with them is just such a good time.
Yeah. Well, didn't they remove the co-op in the last few games?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Like that's the only thing I know about the most recent Halo games is that
When
they
we played, was it Halo 5? I don't remember which one it was, but we
nah.
played, was it 4?
Yeah, it was four.
And they
Um.
had those aliens that could like disappear and reappear and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Halo 5 was like the first Halo to come out with no co op. And
Right.
I think another one or two games have come out since then.
There was a
Um,
recent Halo that came out that was like kind of open world or had like an overworld.
yeah, and they introduced the grappling hook, I think.
Yeah, they did introduce Halo Infinite is the most recent one.
Yeah, and that doesn't have co op either.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
And then
I,
they had before that, oh, there's heaps of Halos here, but the main ones, Halo Wars. No, we're not looking at that. Halo 5 Guardians. Was that
is
what
that.
we played?
Nah, no, no, no.
We played Halo. Oh
It
god, there's
was
so many.
it was just called Halo 4. I don't think it had a special name.
Oh yeah, Halo 4, right. And this one had cat co-op or not?
Cat Corp? What's that?
Oh, it had co-op
Oh, co-op. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, yeah. 4 did absolutely.
on the screen. You could like split screen co-op.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I have a very vivid memory of us drinking corkscrews at my reservoir place.
yeah. I was trying to remember. I remember the corkscrews, but I don't remember if I brought like my Xbox and like set up a little screen next to your screen or not. I was trying to
Nah,
remember that
nah.
aspect of it.
It was split, split,
Okay,
baby.
yeah. Anyway, final part of news. This is the last one. Is the PS Plus is getting an update. I don't know if you've read about this or seen this yet.
Oh, I mean, I got an email, but
Yeah,
it seemed I couldn't really understand the
right.
specifics. Like we're getting a lot more games, but are we, or do we still have to pay more? Like it
Yeah.
was confusing.
Super confusing. No one knows what's going on. They've really bunked. This is like a real Xbox One, Xbox One X style announcement.
Yeah, okay.
Like new Super Nintendo Bros, whatever it is, Super Mario Bros. New or whatever it is. You know how
Yeah,
they always do
yeah.
that shit.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, dude, that like time period of the Wii U where they just the marketing department
It was
was
so grim.
obviously hitting the pipe a bit too often, and yeah, they were all over the
They were hitting
place.
something. Yeah, that was so cooked. The so yeah, the PS I've got it written down here. I'm gonna try and make sense of it in the call. So PS Plus is available in 4 tiers now. There's
Oh
PS Plus
Jesus.
Essential,
Okay.
fundamentally unchanged from the current service. This is what we already pay. There's $83 a year one.
Okay.
Um, unchanged, it says. Fundamentally unchanged. Then there's PS Plus Extra, which is $139 a year and adds a
Jesus.
yeah, and it adds a library of PlayStation 4 and 5 games. So
Ooh.
you get it's sort of like their answer to the Microsoft what's it called?
Game Pass? The
Game
Xbox Game
Pass. Thank you.
Pass?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
I've
have you ever messed with?
I yeah, I looked at that last year and it's like $10 a month.
Yeah.
And there were some games on there. Like it had both the Oris,
Yeah.
both the Dead Space games. You know, there was a lot of shit on there. I was like, oh yeah, like this
Yeah.
seems alright. I guess,
Yeah.
you know, if you're playing like a game a month, then that's totally worth it.
Totally. Yeah, I think a lot of people. It's been a real money spinner for Microsoft, and the list continues to grow of games that are on Games Pass. And a lot of the
Mm,
time, like entire series will go. So like the Yakuza series went to Games Pass last year, so you could just like
Jesus.
play all of the Yakuza games,
Can
except for
you
like a Dragon, which I think is now on there.
can you imagine that though? That's like probably 500 hours of Yakuza.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
there's a
it's
lot of
bonkers.
games.
Yeah. So I think that's like the it's like a gift and a curse, you know. Like on
Yeah.
one hand, it's $10, and so you don't really feel like you need to get value out of it.
Mm,
And also you don't feel like you need to get value out of it. So maybe you don't play it or use it that often, and it just racks up, $120 a year or whatever it ends up being.
yeah, yeah, that's how they get you.
Yeah,
That's why like every new app has a subscription model instead of an outright model because
yeah,
they're banking on you forgetting about it.
yes, totally. um, stuff. Yeah, and so yeah, there's that, and then there's another PS Plus Extra, and then there's PS Plus Premium, baby. Um,
So
uh,
essentials, extra, premium. What do we
uh,
get for premium?
Premium is $167 a year
Fucking hell.
and
Okay.
adds games from previous PlayStation generations plus game demos. So
Oh,
you get
for
access
like
to
future games coming out.
yeah.
Right, I
So
see.
they're doing, I believe, what they're gonna do because they're gonna do PlayStation 2 and 3, from what I've heard, rumored, is they're gonna
Oh.
have similar to like a Stadia setup where you don't actually emulate the games on your system because they're relying on people using PlayStation 4s and 5s, and PlayStation 4s don't have a way to natively play PlayStation 2 games, nor do 5,
Mm,
and so it'll be a streamed in style service.
interesting. I
So
wonder.
probably not useful for us Australians.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder if they're finally going to give people the opportunity to play the Metal Gear series on newer console generations.
I dare say
Because
that's probably what's going to happen. Yeah.
that's like the only reason I still own a PS3
Right.
is for the Metal Gear collection.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the news for the week.
I
That's
love it.
what's happening.
I love that segment. I'd
Yeah.
I'd be keen to even have that segment earlier. Start off with some good news before I shit all over people's favorite video games like that.
Yeah, I was tempted. I was tempted, but you asked what the topic was, and I was like, I gotta say the topic.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Cool.
that's what's going on, man.
Great.
That's another one in the bank, I reckon.
Another one in the bank. Love this. Love you.
Love you too, bro.
We'll see you next time. It's almost the weekend.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.